Hey everybody, today I wanted to do a video on ROCD and just some compulsions and I guess navigating through it. If you want to make sure you like and subscribe down at the bottom, leave any comments or questions about future videos you'd like me to do, I'd really appreciate it. So first thing with ROCD that I think is just a really big driving factor that really keeps OCD alive, and obviously the uncomfortableness is fear, obviously afraid of being uncomfortable for long periods of time or feeling the sensations or having the thoughts. I also think that like a lot of the common compulsions that you'll really see is wanting to vent or wanting to ask for reassurance. Usually based on maybe a thought that they don't love you, that they don't care about you, that they don't want to be with you, that you're not good enough, that maybe they're too good for you, that they're just trying to make you feel bad, almost like demonizing them. Lots of anger maybe towards your partner. Also, obviously the fear about, maybe cheating or them cheating or you cheating. And then also, I guess the really core fear obviously would be that the key to happiness is the relationship, right? So it's the importance of the relationship that drives it. Now, when we look at relationships, obviously they're a great part of life, and they may be important to a degree, obviously, depending on who you date. Maybe it will change the environment that you live, or the person that you're married to. It'll obviously maybe change a degree of happiness depending on how they act or react. It also could possibly change your sex life. It could change maybe where you live because of their family, your family, and it could also to a degree, change your hobbies, change your daily life, right? Now, obviously those things, all of those things are a part of life, but none of them to a degree are really that detrimental that it should create that much anxiety, right? Now, for me personally, I would say the biggest things that I have dealt with ROCD is one, worrying about someone else cheating. I think that was probably a big one. Also, other fear would be like sex, like not performing well in sex, or not making my partner happy with sex, or them not giving me sex enough and me being frustrated about it. Also, I would say just getting really angry or frustrated at my partner for some of the decisions they were making. And also constantly like trying, almost looking at them and like nitpicking little things that they do to make me feel like I don't like them or that I'm not super attracted to them, right? Now, when you look at these things, you have to really look at your fears, right? The core fear is going to be the importance of the relationship. So you look at the relationship, and one thing I got frustrated about was, my relationship right now is a little different. Me and my, my girlfriend were living in different houses when we used to live in the same house. We actually broke up not too long ago. And I think it's right now it's been a good thing for both of us, been uncomfortable for both of us, but been very good. And I would get frustrated because I wanted her to do certain things or be around me a certain amount of time, maybe sleep in the same bed more often, maybe have more physical affection. And what really helped me with this was looking at history, right? So if you look at certain people in history who had been in relationships for years and years on time and didn't even see each other, but and still were affectionate, loving, and caring. But whether they were or not, right, doesn't really matter. But that's just an example of people being in a different relationship. If you think about, like, for me nowadays, you think a lot of people don't really date a long time before they have sex. So for me, like, I'm in a situation where I'm like, well, hey, this is something I want more, or something that I would want more often. And now I'm in a position where me and my significant other, we haven't had really any kind of physical contact like that in 6 or 7 months. We're just spending lots of time together, which was really uncomfortable at first. But when you look at past relationships, 50s, 60s, 40s, stuff like that, people would be together for years before they even got married, and they would just hug and they would kiss. Back when Christianity was more of a thing. There's also, obviously other cultures that they have sex with multiple partners, all kinds of stuff, right? So looking at all of those things made me, I guess, look at it more instead of a black and white, kind of a gray, right? The other thing is like sleeping in the same bed, for example. Obviously, I would like to be able to sleep in the same bed with that person more often, but I snore really loud, and and there were lots of times in history where people didn't sleep in the same bed. They slept in separate rooms and had their own space, right? And it's not something that's necessary to love or a relationship. It's just, a part of a relationship that maybe you would like or enjoy, but it's not absolutely necessary, So when I look at my core fears or my insecurities, and I break them down over time, what I really looked at was, my fear of being uncomfortable for long periods of time and thinking and feeling these ways. So when I broke it down, I was like, well, worst case scenario, I'm stuck like this, I feel like this, and I have to, just kind of deal with it. Like I still wake up every day. I'm still going to go to the gym. I'm still going to eat good food. I'm still going to go hang out with friends. I'm still going to go to work, do my daily thing. And, even if I am a little uncomfortable at times, like at the end of the day, like it's not super detrimental. And obviously the biggest core fear about the relationship in itself, you would love to be in a relationship with that person, and you would love to have your relationship maybe be different, but at the end of the day, if they're not in your life, it's not going to be the end of it. I've had many partners and girlfriends that I've broken up with, and for a period of time it's difficult, but over time you get used to it, and it's not the end of the world, right? Like the key to your happiness isn't necessarily another person. It's good to have, but it's not the end of the world, right? So looking at those fears is going to be the first thing, right? That's going to be the key for everything. And then after you look at those fears, I would say, obviously bringing everything for the ride and just being uncomfortable, okay? And then you got to look at exposures and compulsions. So exposures for me is I would actually try to do things intentionally to irritate my partner a little bit, to get her to argue with me. Don't ever let her watch this video, Rob or Nick, but because it would make me uncomfortable, right? Now, that was a good exposure, or a good exposure for me. Another good exposure was not texting or all day to her, not saying I love you. That's also a compulsion, right? So little subtle compulsions, rereading text messages, trying to spend lots and lots of time, like over exaggerated amounts of time when you guys have two separate lives that you're just living together, not you two be your whole lives. You're just a part of each other's lives. The other thing is looking at the social media, checking social media constantly, sending them something to try to get a reaction, saying I love you over and over and over, touching them all the time to try to get them to touch you back, and stepping back from those compulsions also is a good exposure, because you're making yourself uncomfortable because you want to have those things, right? So you're bringing it for the ride. And then over time, it starts to change your belief, right? Like, you can feel uncomfortable. You don't need those things. It would be great to have them, right? But you don't have to have them. And then when you break down the core fears of the relationship being the most important thing in your life, and obviously fear being uncomfortable for long periods of time because of the ROCD, then what happens is over time your mind stops being able to remind you of those things and be able to make you uncomfortable because you're okay with being uncomfortable and experiencing those things. And then you're breaking all of those things down, and then long term you put yourself in a situation where you're able to be a lot happier, right? Or not necessarily happy, but okay with the way things are in your relationship, whether they be preferable or non-preferable. Now, the other thing I would say with ROCD, at least for me, I mean, I didn't really feel as many body sensations or anything like that. It's more of a lot of mental compulsions, just and wanting to constantly vent or talk to my partner about stuff. And it's important to just, pay attention to those things and notice them. But anyways, a lot of information here, guys. I'm just going from my personal experiences with ROCD. And I hope this is helpful, and I hope that you guys have a great day.